Saka on the right, someone that could even do 50% of Saka's kind of statistics in terms of goals in Gyökeres. Then if you add Eze and these kind of Madueke and all these guys into the mix, I'd feel a lot better. It feels like I can't say we haven't improved, because clearly we have. Like, you've upgraded the depth there, and Gyökeres is obviously a level raiser. But it does feel like something's missing. You're waiting for that eureka moment to think, you know what, we're here now. It probably is greedy though, man.
Thing is, I understand what you say, greedy. I feel like Arsenal deserve it. It's been the opposite of greedy. We've been starving of a striker since before January. In my opinion, for 5 years as a prolific number 9, and certainly since 22 and Aubameyang went, that time before we got in another prolific number 9, which looks like we're hopefully going to do that with Gyökeres, right? Rodrigo, for me, is the marquee signing and takes us to the next level. I think when people look at odd Rodrigo coming to Liverpool, which is apparently where he's now favourite to go, people are going to be like, wow, they got Havertz, they got Salah, they've got obviously Hugo Ekitike and Rodrigo now. They're serious club. Yeah, Arsenal, people are like, I don't know if we need Rodrigo as well. Just give me Eze. They're not worried about, who's going to play here? How's he going to fit in? What about his development? They're building a squad that can dominate. They're striking while the iron's hot. They've gone all out for Isak. Yeah, they failed, and they're now going to get Ekitike, it seems. But obviously, Rodrigo's now favourite because Diaz and Nunez are looking to go. So they're still looking at their attack. Anthony Gordon's been linked with them for God knows how long as well. So I look at what Arsenal are doing, and it seems like a lot of people are believing that Madueke and Eze might be strong enough. Well, both of those are just squad players, if I'm honest. We can't say that either of them are guaranteed to start for Arsenal when everybody's fit. So I think as much as I love Martinelli and I love Eze to come, and I'm happy to give Madueke the time to prove me wrong, I still don't feel confident that our attack is ready and fit and ready for the next level. You add Rodrigo to the mix, all of a sudden you know what your starter is, yeah? So if I bring our little front 3 or front 6 up together again, then all of a sudden this is starting to look very different, yeah? And you start to look at the 6 that we're now putting forward. A lot of the Arsenal fans are excited, and some of the rivals are crying because you've got Zubimendi, Rice, and Erdegaard. You've got Rodrigo, Saka, and Gyökeres. Add to that the fact that Madueke can come in, Wanyeri can come in, obviously Martinelli can come in, and Eze can come in. There is no excuses about Arsenal scoring goals, brother. There's no excuses about Arsenal's attack not being ready.
Dan, you're making me dream, man, and it's a shame that this just remains a talking point. There's no it's not happening in real life. That is what you want. The first thing I thought about that is teams can triple mark Saka, quadruple mark him as much as you want. You might even be able to do that to Rodrigo on the other hand side. But then central areas, Odegaard be doing his thing. Zubimendi, you know yourself, I'm very bullish about that. Rice is never going to be Frank Lampard, but he's showing he can get goals and assists and bring other things into his game. Gyökeres speaks for himself. And then obviously you've got the Wanyeris, the Ezes, the Maduekes, the Martinellis all waiting in the wings. Potentially Trossard, don't know what sales would mean, but you've got them all waiting in the wings. And then if they ever get on the pitch and their form's out of this world, they're not necessarily, warranted to be dropped. So there's competition for places. Dan, we do this. I'm a happy bunny, innit? Like this is what we've needed to do for a number of years, but it's gonna come down to big money. And I don't know about you, Dan, and I don't know how the media, if the media actually know what they're talking about, but it just feels to me, based on when I see Ornstein, Romano, Sammy Motbell, all those kind of journalists, the way they're kind of speaking, it just feels like we get Gyökeres and all the ones that we've been linked with at this moment in time, we get that through the door. I think there's a bit of radio silence. I think we'll focus a bit on outgoings. And then the Ezes, maybe the Rodrigos or some other random player, I think then we try to go for them. I think them ones there, I don't want to be that guy. It might even drag into August, potentially the start of the season, which I hope to be wrong. For me, with Eze, it just comes down to the P's, bro. Just put the P's down. I'm not even saying activate the release clause. Just make the deal make sense. Don't go and tell Crystal Palace, we'll give you 30 million now. In 50 years, we'll give you a next 10. Just make it make sense. And even with that, I want Rodrigo. But I just don't think we have a chance like that. I don't even think he wants to leave Madrid like that. So for me, put all your eggs in the Eze basket, get that one there confirmed, still try for Rodrigo or some other left winger, and just make sure it's looking lit, if I'm honest. But that would be good, man. Look at it.
I know we're dreaming, it's a pipe dream, but I don't think it's the most unrealistic of dreams. So for me, if I was saying, right, I feel like let's get Vinny Jr. in, let's put Mbappe up top, that's the dream. That's the unrealistic dream, right? when I look at Rodrigo, there's potential for him to want to leave. I'm with you. I don't think he's desperate to get out of there. However, I do feel like there's potential for a move there. If the money was right, I think it's going to have to be 100 million euros. But if we were to do that and get Rodrigo in, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to squad depth, right? Now, I don't want this front six to be broken up. But let me give you an example of, we've just played, let's say, we've just played Manchester City. We're going into a Carabao Cup game the next few days. We now need to rotate, right? So instead of Gyökeres, we're bringing in Kai Havertz. So Havertz starts up top, right? I know not everyone's a fan of Kai Havertz, but instead of Saka, we're bringing in Noni Madueke. Instead of Rodrigo, Martinelli comes in because obviously he's our backup left winger. Instead of Ødegaard, he gets a break and we get Eberechi Eze in there. Then you can start to look at what happens with Declan Rice, and you could either do one of two things. You can bring in Marino if you do want your kind of number 8, or you can bring in Ethan, yeah? And then in the Zubamendi role, you can bring in Norgard.
Yeah, Norgard.
All of a sudden, you've got depth in every single position twice over. And this is what I keep saying about it. People say to me, oh, you don't want to be, getting too many players. Arteta wants a small squad. If Arteta wants a small squad, he needs to go and manage somebody like Burnley, because you can't manage Arsenal.
It's not sustainable, man.
Yeah, it ain't sustainable when you're going for 4 competitions. So for me, I know people might look at that and go, oh, that's not very strong. Yeah, it's not very strong when you're playing Man City at the Etihad, I agree. But when you're playing the likes of Hull City in the Carabao Cup, this is quite good enough to go and beat them. Yeah. Now you can add Ethan in there if you want to. You can bring in Miles Lewis-Skelly into midfield if you don't really fancy Marino. There's a lot more stuff you can do versatile-wise. You can play Rice in the 6 if you really want to, instead of Zubamendi, or if Zubamendi's finding it a little bit harder to adjust than we think, then play him in this one and rest Rice and put Marino there or Ethan there. This is why we need squad depth. So I think we've just proven, the pair of us there, yeah, as to why we could actually do with Rodrigo and Eze on top of potentially Madueke and Gyökeres.
Or just the bodies in those roles. Right.
There we go.
Purely just the bodies in those roles, Dan. Like, this is why we need numbers. Like, we've tried to have. I think Arteta is a bit like Pep in that he doesn't want the biggest of squads, but to be fair to the manager, whether it's his fault or Edu's fault or whoever's fault, he has said numerous times, we need a bigger squad. And yeah, I know people have got into that trap of when everybody's fit. And I don't want to be disingenuous, but historically, when we've had everybody fit, or we look at the people that have been here, everybody knows Tomiyasu is picking up knocks, Partey's picking up knocks, Jesus is picking up knocks, Zini's going to miss 1 or 2 weeks. Unfortunately, Calafiori's shown an inability to stay fit. We need a bigger squad. And like you said there, it's all fun and games. What would you say, give or take, from August until the first international break? When you got 1 game a week, it's all fun and games. You know the sort of talking points that's going to happen. If Ben White starts and things of that ilk, it's all over for Timber or vice versa. Then you get into that weird scenario now where the League Cup is coming into it. You've now got 2 games a week, 3 games in 10 days. You might have, bearing in mind, we know the Champions League structure now. You might have PSG in the group stages on the Tuesday, and then you're playing Man City on the Saturday, and then on the on the Saturday, the next Tuesday, you've got something. So you're right. We need the bodies. We need the bodies. And me and you have spoken about this before, and I know I'm going away, but it's bigger than Arsenal or whatever team people support. You know, you're seeing the Club World Cup, bare games, Champions League, there's bare games, international tournaments, there's bare games. It's not getting anywhere anytime soon. The people that control football and the competitions, they don't give a monkeys about these players staying fit. The only time that they might give you a bit of a respite is obviously when they move games for TV rights, and that might help you. So if no one's going to save us, the only solution is a bigger squad. That goes for every team. So we need a bigger squad. And in those areas you've been speaking about, especially in the attacking rank, because now we start to believe that these lot can do a job. And indirectly, the Havertzes, the Marinos, the Martinellis, all of these kind of guys, they become squad players rather than, unless their form's out of this world, rather than first team regulars, where we're looking at them to do it for 25, 30 of the 38 games calendar. I need to see us put roles or put people in boots that they can fill, because I don't think we've done that.
Yeah. Look, I've got to be honest with you. I feel like, as much as people might look at that and say, oh, that's a pipe dream, Rodrigo's not coming, why is Eze not starting? Well, Eze's not going to start in the Ødegaard role because it's his captain. This is not what I would do. I'm trying to predict what Arteta's going to do with that starting lineup. Eze is not playing ahead of Ødegaard, people. He is not playing on the left 8 ahead of Rice, people. And he is not going to put Rice in the 6 and Eze and Ødegaard together because we bought in Zubamendi to play the 6 role, people.
Yeah, you're not going to see that on a consistent basis.
And have a go at Arteta, not having a go at us, because we're putting together what we believe, what we believe is going to be potentially the starting lineup. And we need depth. We do. Look, Rodrigo, I'll just quickly touch on it, DG. I don't know how true this is, and I don't know how reliable some of the sources are, but some of the sources are suggesting that he may be available, of course, from Real Madrid. The latest, of course, is that sources of connection to the agency industry have informed that Rodrigo looks increasingly likely to leave Real Madrid. Interested clubs are unlikely to go near his 100 million euro asking price, but Arsenal could test the waters with an 80 million euro offer. Now, I've got to be honest with you, we are not going to be the only club here.
Exactly.
For him, right? Liverpool, City, Bayern, even PSG were linked, I believe. I'm sure there's other clubs in Europe, in Champions League clubs, that will be looking
Chelsea
at Rodrigo.
as well.
Exactly. Chelsea's a great shout, actually. So, what's happening with this one, bruv? Come on. What's your honest thoughts?
I don't think we're getting him. I want to be wrong because I didn't think we'd get Declan Rice, Aubameyang, Ozil, Alexis Sanchez, even though at the time it was a big signing, not really to these lots, Arshavin's level. So maybe I'm a positive omen and my pessimism can be, proven wrong and dispelled. But I just think too much things need to fall into place. I don't feel we need to sell to buy to have money, but I feel in the last 2 summers, there's been a bit of an emphasis from the Cronkies to go and bring some money in, to bring some money back into the club. When you look at Berta, obviously I like what Berta's doing. I like how he's maneuvering. You're twice the level of Edu. You've done what you needed to do at Atletico Madrid, but you come from a financial background. So that had to have been a bonus. So as I said earlier, Dan, I think we're going to tie up the loose ends we're doing at the moment. There's a bit of stopping and focusing on outgoings, and this is ever developing. I just think too much dominoes need to fall into place. I think Rodrigo has to be told with a heavy heart that you need to leave Real Madrid. I think it needs to be made abundantly clear that he's not going to make it. We have to be prepared to, pay significant amounts of money, then, whether that is his release clause or whatever fee, and obviously his wages. And are we able to do that? Probably financially, but are we going to? I don't know. We just committed 50 odd million for Zubamendi. You're looking at 60 odd for Gyökeres, 50 for Madueke. Eze, provided you get it done, and we're assuming we get both, that's 60 to 68 million. That's another 80. I'm sure you could offset some of the spending. I can't see it, man. I can't. And even with him, Dan, like, what if Real Madrid and Xabi Alonso sit there and say, do you know what? You're part of this, but you're not going to play the football you want. Would he still want to stay? Maybe he says, you know what, I'll prove you guys wrong. It's a long season. You see a lot of rumors around Real Madrid, how they're criticizing their players for not pressing and not doing the intensity thing that Xabi Alonso does. Now, he might not have the kind of clout that Vinicius and Mbappe have. But one thing about Rodrigo, and it'll actually be great for Arsenal, is he works his socks off. This is, he's grown up at Madrid, essentially. I know he came from Brazil. It'd be a significant move. And I think you get called up to Brazil anyway. So I don't even think that, obviously, in terms of playing and being informed, great. But I don't think it's a thing where you need to play mad football to go and play with Brazil. You're going to get called up anyways. It's one, Dan, if I'm honest, I believe it when I see it, man. I just can't put my heart into it. That's why, for me, go and get Eze. If there's scope to do this, get it done, man.
Look, this is the one after Gyökeres that would make me excited. This is the goosebump summer that Arteta was telling me about, and look, I don't think at the moment that we've massively upgraded our 11 other than 2 positions. If the rumors are true about, Zubamendi and Gyökeres both coming in together, that's going to be now the 2 that definitely go into the starting 11. But I don't think that Eze is definitely a starter in Arteta's eyes. He would start for me, but I don't think that he will in Arteta's eyes, guaranteed. Madueke, question marks over whether he's going to start. Obviously, the other players that we're bringing in, Kepa, Mosquera potentially, and Norgard, are all going to be brought in as kind of squad players or backups. So really and truly, there's only Gyökeres and Zubamendi that are definitely improving the starting 11. Now, my question to you is that enough? Because I do think we've improved. I do think that we're bringing in players that potentially are better than the ones that we did have. But have we gotten to that kind of level to you to go, right, now we're ready to win the league? Because if we're bringing in these players, DG, that we're linked with, I'll ask you straight. Is Kepa an upgrade on Neto, do you think? I think 100%, so.
100%. The ball's on the floor, but 100%. And I'm not even gassing up Kepa's thing. Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Nah. Mosquera, do you think that's an upgrade on Tomiyasu?
In terms of fitness, yeah, obviously he's still learning the tricks and trades of the game, but availability is the best trait you could have in it, really. Big up, Tommy.
I agree. Do you think Madueke is an upgrade on Sterling and Nelson?
By default, but is that really a question, Dan? Like, they're not like Nelson weren't here. Sterling got little man minutes. Like, you're not really important like that. Like, you're not really replacing nothing in that regard. So by default, yeah, with Madueke, but Dan, I'm not having that one.
Norgard and Zubamendi, do you think they're upgrades on Partey and Jorginho?
Oh, now controversial one, yeah. Obviously, Partey's whatever, but I actually think Zubamendi is an upgrade on Partey. But the club wanted to keep both of them in it, so it's not really. Norgard, Jorginho's a better footballer than you. What you have that Jorginho doesn't is you're going to be probably fit a lot more, and you've got legs. You're a different midfielder, so I wouldn't say an upgrade, but a different kind of tool, but nothing to scream and shout about. Big him up sideways, really.
Okay, and then of course Gyökeres, we can all agree is an upgrade on what we've got. So
it's not all fans agree with that.
I agree with everything you've said, by the way. The reason I brought in some of the players that weren't there is because I actually see Eze, if he does come in, as being someone who's now better than Fabi Vieira, because we should have brought someone in when he went. Nelson, the reason I brought him up, and Sterling because he's now gone as well, is because we haven't actually brought anybody in now that them two are either gone back or not wanted. So Madueke would probably, in my eyes, be looking to come in and upgrade on that. Obviously, Mosquera is only better than Tomiyasu because he's bloody fit. If they both were fit, I think Tomiyasu would probably be better because I actually rate him. I just don't think he's ever fit enough.
He's never here.
Kepa's definitely better than Neto because Neto looked a shambles. Yeah, I don't care. I think I could be better than Neto in goal. He was that bad for us, right? So there's some that are definite upgrades. There's some that are question marks over it. And there's also some that I think are upgrades on the players that went last year that we should have already replaced. So when you look at who's replaced Eddie and who's replaced Vieira and who's replaced Nelson, we don't have any of those players at the moment. So that's why I think it's even more of a need to bring in the amount of players that we're being linked with.
We only got 2 level raisers at this moment in time. I know we need to get depth, and we've simultaneously needed to get depth and we needed to get level raisers. The only 2 level raisers I genuinely believe is Zubamendi and actually Gyökeres, because they're the only ones that make me go, oh, wow, you know what? Different dimension. No disrespect to Madueke. Hope you can do that, but you're more chipping in kind of player. Norgard, do your thing. But Kepa, like you said, you're an upgrade on Neto. But we needed to do that. I've not really got issues. What's going to sum up this market is the level raisers, is the Ezes, the Rodrigos, or random names that we're not linked with that are of the same caliber. Because we know what time it is, especially in the Champions League. Like I think I just mentioned depth and obviously 11. Yeah, I think you look at the first leg against PSG. When it's all said and done, that showed you why we needed depth. Partey couldn't play, having to move people around. We're back in issues. The second leg, obviously, Partey weren't amazing, but Partey comes back in. We're kind of moving a bit more fluid. We've had two, 3 chances first 20 minutes. We don't have a player with that quality to just put the ball in the back of the net and just change games, really. So, yeah, we need that, Dan. We need to do both. And I guess we're making more of a meal of finding starting 11 quality. We're doing what we need to do in terms of depth. But needle movers, saying floor raisers, like we're missing that, Dan. We need that. We need at least 2 more, in my opinion, or at the very minimum 1.
Yeah. And do you know what? I think we will get that. I just don't know if we'll get all that we want. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to then throw the transfer window in the bin like some people think. And, oh, my God, it's a 4 out of 10 and all this stuff. I ain't going to do that. But I want to be pleasantly shocked and surprised. Like, whoa, okay, Kroenke's show ambition. They've changed. Bert has come in. He ain't mucking about. That's changed. Arteta's realised it's now or never. That's good. That's what I want to be saying, really. And I just wanted to bring up the kind of bomber that Romano has just put out about Mbeumo, because apparently he's here we go to Manchester United, and it could rise as far as 70 million. Now, I like Mbeumo. I think he's a very good player. I'm not sure that he's worth 70 million. However, last season he scored a lot of goals. Does that now make the Eze 68 million release clause fair?
Yeah, 100%. 100% it looks fair, you know. And Mbeumo, quality player. I think he got 20 odd last season. Me and you have done a lot of shows over these years, and I've always said I rate Mbeumo. I think this is probably his first year where he's got ridiculous kind of numbers, but I can't blame Brentford. Man United got money. He's one of the best of the rest outside of the traditional top 6. It makes sense. And then where you look at Eze's release clause, clearly Crystal Palace done their due diligence. Where I don't know for how long Mbeumo had on his deal, but I know Eze's got 2 years. So at some point, Crystal Palace, whether it's to Arsenal or elsewhere, they might have to sit there in the market and go, you know what, he's got 2 years left on his deal. Next year, he's going to have a year. No one ain't activating his release clause. We might get money. We might keep him happy as Larry. But this is probably your one big chance, whether he goes to Arsenal, or I'm sure you've covered the rumours. I don't know how true, but Chelsea hijack shouts. We need to get these guys, man. We need to get these guys. It's a fair fee. I think Mbeumo's going to be a hit for United, but naturally, I hope it flops.
I've got to be honest, I agree. I feel like he'll be a very good signing. I hope he flops. I think Cunha and Mbeumo was a good start to Manchester United. It's just that obviously it's taken this long to get both